Good afternoon, and thank you for having me here. My name is Raymond Mesa, and I'm accompanied here today by my beautiful wife, my two sons, Valak and Isaiah, and my daughter, Tina. I'm a member of the Colorado River Indian tribes. I'm originally from Northern California. I'm an ex-gang member, ex-prison gangbanger, and back in March of 2016, rumors started circulating around our reservation about a body that was found in a canal. And I was at work, and my little sister called me and told me, because she was worried that we haven't heard from my sister. And I didn't take it serious, because that type of stuff doesn't happen to you. I didn't take it serious, and I asked her, "Where'd you get this information from?" She said from my other sister heard it from an NA meeting. So I started making jokes saying, "What, a bunch of drug addicts know more information than the cops?" But my little sister was panicked, and I noticed that my coworkers, their family started coming to my work and calling my coworkers out and asking them if they knew where their sister was, where they knew where their auntie was, because that's how serious it was, that everybody on the reservation was checking on their loved ones. And my little sister again called me and told me that she's worried about my older sister. So to put my little sister at ease, I went and I filed a missing persons report with the tribal police. And I guess because of the volume of people filing missing persons reports that day, I walked in, and the dispatcher was acting in a manner that maybe like we were bothering them, which was fine with me because I didn't want it to be my sister. The more the dispatcher act like we were bothering them, the better, because it just confirmed to me that I had nothing to worry about. And so as I finished the report and I turned around and started walking out, years before that, I had tattooed on my sister's arm Korean writing. And so on my way out the door, I stopped and I said, "Oh yeah, by the way, I tattooed something on her arm." And immediately he stopped and he looked up at me and he gave me a card and said, "Stay close to your phone because we're going to be in contact with you." Well, the next day, I was with my wife and the FBI called. And they asked me where my mom was at because they need to speak with her. And me and my little sister, to protect my mom, we didn't tell her that there was rumors going around about a body that was found. So it dawned on me that the FBI was going to my mom's house, and she had no cushion. She didn't know anything about this. And so I rushed to get to my mom before the FBI did, but I was too late. When I pulled up to the house, there was FBI cars, there was tribal police, and I could hear my mom screaming, "Not my baby, not my baby." And at the same time, my little sister, she arrived. And my little sister is sensitive. So when I came in the house, my mom was broken. And I saw the photo that they had taken of my sister, and I identified it. It was my sister. And my little sister, she tried to look, and I wouldn't let her look at it because I know it would haunt her. But it was my big sister. And I remember that day because of my past, because of my gangbanging, because I have 3 prison numbers, and I helped destroy that community. And I was trying to live right. And I asked myself, who's going to help me? How do I even deserve help? More or less. And with my sister was homeless, and she was a drug addict. And so who's going to help my sister? Who's going to help me? The FBI came and they told me, "Go inside with your family and mourn." But this is my big sister. And I didn't want to mourn. I wanted to go and get these guys. Somebody did something to my sister. But I didn't know the first thing to start. Who do I ask for help? How do I do this? Do I even deserve help? Does my sister even deserve anybody to even care? So that next morning, I jumped up. But that night, I got on my knees. I wanted so bad to get a gun and to go kicking doors. I wanted so bad to become the guy I used to be. But that night, I got on my knees and I asked the Creator. I asked the Creator to help me. I asked him, give my sister justice and I'll be honorable. And that next morning I woke up, I asked my wife, how much money you got? She says, I got $1,000. Well, I got 2 cars. I'll sell each one for $1,000. I asked my little sister, how much money do you have? She said, I got $2,000. Well, that's $5,000. $5,000, and we made our own reward posters. And the reward posters had my cell number on it. And while the tribal police were telling us to lay low and just go inside and more and let them do their job, that nobody's gonna love your loved one more than you. Nobody's gonna fight for your loved one harder than you. And we weren't about to lay down. We flooded social media, any platform that would allow us to upload a video or a picture. We violated every single rules in all the Facebook, pages. And reward posters, we went to every restaurant, every bar, everywhere that would allow us to. And you think that they wouldn't want that we would scare business away. But I went into restaurants and I asked for the manager and I took a picture and I said, this is my sister. And I told them what they did to her. And you think that they would be angry and say, because I went upriver is off the reservation. And you think that they would say, not our problem, or, you know, this is a family place. But as I'm telling the owner of the store, the story, crowds started building around me. And people wanted to know about this. People wanted to know what's going on in their community. And I told them, and the community quickly got involved. And they said, we hope that you catch them before the police do. We went to the radio stations, we went to the newspapers, we went to the neighboring cities and paid the newspapers to run our story. We ended up on ABC News, Tri-Valley News. Anybody that would listen, I got on the phone one morning and I just started calling. I started calling out to Banning, California. I called to Yuma. I called to Cocopah. I called to Peach Springs. I called to Needles. I called to Chemehuevi Valley. And every single place I called, they talked to me. And we started organizing a community march, the first one in Parker, to raise awareness to help catch the killer or killers of my sister. And again, with that thought in my head that of my past and how my sister, how she lived her lifestyle, I had butterflies in my stomach, wondering, because we had ordered 300 shirts. And I was just scared, wondering, is anybody going to show up? That fear, just it being confirmed that she wasn't worth it. And when we got on the bus and we started heading towards the parking lot where they were handing the shirts out, when the bus came over the hill, there was hundreds of people that came out. All we seen was a sea of red with my sister's face on their backs. Strangers that when I called out for help, because in our town, my wife drove me to every church, and I went to every church and I pleaded with them, help me. And a majority of the churches gave me a lecture and basically slammed the door in my face. At all the churches I asked, only 2 churches showed up. And when the march happened, strangers from all around showed up, showing love for her neighbor, showing that she was worth it. And there was hundreds of people that showed up, and it was an awesome sight. And it took off. And 8 months later, the FBI contacted us and told us that they're executing 2 warrants and that they caught the killers. And they caught the killers. They caught both killers. And both killers went before Judge Himitiwa, the first native judge appointed in the federal court, a superior court. And when we went to the court hearings, because of the nature of how my sister was murdered, she was tortured. And this is something that I still feel, this is what lights me up, and it lights a fire under me. For $500 of meth, she was stabbed 17 times. She was beaten. They shaved her head. They wrapped her in plastic, and they threw her in a canal to where finally they found water in her lungs. So she survived the whole beating, the stabbings, everything, and she finally drowned. And just knowing that and fighting the old person inside of you, there's a better way to do things. I could have either tried to go get justice myself, or we could do what we're doing right now and get everybody involved. And because the story would have flipped, they would have made it out to me being the monster and forgot about that a beautiful Native woman was murdered. So we fought and we got justice, and not even a year later, another body was found. Another body was found. Her name was Shaggy Molina Yazi. Their family called me and asked, "Can you help us?" And they told me the details of what happened with her. And I just relived it all over again. And it just came so natural that we could have, as a family, we could have took this victory and just went inside and just claimed it, and that was it. But instead, we got together with the second family, and we organized a second march, and we started a grassroots group in Parker called Stand Strong Together. And every December, it's annual now. They did a proclamation in the Colorado River Indian Tribes Tribal Council for December that now we march through Parker every December, raising awareness for murdered and missing indigenous people, for human trafficking, against drugs. And through that, I've been asked to go out to like Crossroads Mission and Yuma to speak at the recovery events. I've been asked to, I've been flown out to Rapid City, and thanks to Brandon and his wife Valora and the Hungwunsi Consultant Agency, our little reservation in Parker, and through all our efforts, grassroots efforts, I got to sit on a panel as a consultant for the handbook on Operation Lady Justice. The President Trump in 2019 signed an executive order called Operation Lady Justice, and I got to sit on a panel as a consultant to consult on the handbook. All that from just fighting for somebody where I was scared that nobody would care, because that's a victim blaming. That's all that was going around. She deserved it. She deserved it. She was a drug addict. She's homeless. And they make you feel like that. But we're more than that. Yes. And then the MMIP movement, like they said earlier, in 2015, caught ground in Canada. My sister was murdered in 2016. So when we started marching, other groups started reaching out to us, and my sister was murdered around the same time Pamela Foster lost Ashlyn Mike. And we started talking on Facebook. I was leaning on her strength, and she's somewhere here in Arizona and Phoenix. I'm not sure where at. I'm trying to find her, but I get to get on the front lines with a lot of the big names in this movement, such as France Beasley, Roxanne White, Pamela Foster, mothers up in Oklahoma City like Robin Jones. She's the founder of the Oklahoma City chapter. Women like Miss Eagle Elk out in Rapid City, who flew me out there to speak out there. I got to go to Las Vegas and speak at the National Unidentified Persons are Missing and Missing Persons Conference. I mean, you just keep fighting, exactly like what these signs say. Keep fighting, get loud. Right now in Parker, we represent a few families, such as Carrie Burns. She's the mother to Rudy Flores. She lost her son out in Bakersfield. Rosie Romero, they found her body in town in a shallow grave. And just this last December, tragedy hit my family again, and my cousin Albert Chavez was gunned down. His murderer was caught. His murderer went home and bragged to his son, "I'm going away for a long time because I just murdered a man." His son went to school, told his friends, the teachers overheard, called the police. They arrested his dad, charged him with criminal homicide, and he's free right now. He spent 8 months in jail. He lives across the street from my aunt. She's got to wake up every day and look out the door and see the man that murdered her son. Wow. So our family's been on both sides of it, experiencing victory and unjust. And the number keeps climbing. And I just want to thank you. Thank you for having me here today. Thank you for allowing me to share my sister's story and just to tell you about our journey, our struggles. And God bless, and just keep fighting and keep doing what you're doing. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Raymond. As part of the Intertribal Student Organization, I'd like to thank you for sharing your story. We